Let's make Nutella stuffed churros. Oh my gosh. Quarter cup butter, 1 cup water. Melt. Add a tablespoon of sugar, pinch of salt, add a cup of flour. Stir into a paste, remove from heat. Once combined, return to heat, cook for 2 minutes. Beautiful. Transfer to a bowl, stir until cool. Crack in an egg. Stir. There's our dough. Place in a piping bag with a star tip. Pipe into hot oil. Snip off the end. Perfect. Fry until golden. Drain excess oil. Toss in cinnamon sugar. Nutella. Nutella piping bag. Inject into churros. Nutella stuffed churros. Look at that. Check that out. Today we're making gourmet Twix bars. These are so incredible and super fun to make. Making the cookie could not be easier. Start with 2/3 cup of softened butter, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1 1/4 cups of flour. Stir it all together until the dough is pretty crumbly. Flatten that down in a 9x9 tray with some parchment paper. Bake at 350 for about 20 minutes. To make the caramel, melt 1 stick of butter. Once that's melted, add in a 1/2 cup of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of corn syrup and a 1/2 cup of sweetened condensed milk. Cook that for 4 to 5 minutes and then pour it over the delicious cookie that's been cooled. Spread it nice and thin around the cookie and then let it set at room temperature. Cut out your bar shapes and set aside. I'm melting some chocolate. I didn't really feel like tempering it, but then I just piped it over the bars and spread it out. I tried to make it as smooth as possible, then did the little ridges on top. Boom!
Turn these into those.
Cut out the core, I know nobody likes the core, and slice each apple. Drizzle melted chocolate chips and peanut butter right on top. Add sprinkles and chocolate chips or whatever else your favorite toppings are, and boom!
Tell me something better than a fresh chocolate chip cookie. Exactly, you can't. We're gonna make them. And there is a secret ingredient. 2 sticks of butter. Melt. The secret is to melt it until it turns brown. Oh yeah. Keep going. This stuff is liquid gold. Brown butter. Chilled butter. 1 cup dark brown sugar. 1/2 cup white sugar. Get your anger out. 2 eggs. 1 egg yolk. Gotta get that vanilla. Mix, mix, mix. 2 1/4 cups of flour. Teaspoon of baking soda. Teaspoon of salt. Oh my. 2 cups chocolate chips. Oh my god. The dough is the best part. Portion onto a cookie sheet. Freeze until solid. Bake at 375 for 9 to 15 minutes. Look at those.
This is for all of you who asked me for a plain vanilla mochi recipe. Start by mixing all of the dry ingredients and then mix that together well. Then add all of the wet ingredients and combine everything together. And then you want to grease 4 muffin tins and then dust with rice flour. Make sure you don't use liners because it'll stick. Then just pour that evenly. Bake at 350 for 20 minutes. And then when you take it out, let it rest for another 5 minutes. So these are one of my favorite desserts. They are crispy on the outside and then soft and chewy inside.
Hey everyone, it's Matthew, and TikTok sent out these little chocolate cupcake piñata things. Anyways, apparently I didn't make the cut. Oh my gosh, it's fine, I'm over it. But you know what? Today we're making our own chocolate piñata. I started off by melting some chocolate. You can either temper real chocolate or use candy melts. Pop that baby in the microwave and melted it. And you know me, I just had a giant cupcake mold lying around my house. So I filled that up with chocolate and I coated the sides. Don't spill it though. I lined both halves with a really thick layer so that it would be easy to get out of the mold. I let them chill for a few minutes and this was literally so satisfying. I was so happy with the way these came out. How smooth. Then I filled the base with chocolate pretzels and added the top back on. Oh my god, can we just take a second to appreciate that? Ba-bam. Look at this incredible gift that I got. The only thing left to do was, of course, smash it. Now that's satisfying.
I told y'all there's food at home. If you love the taste of apple pie but hate bacon, this apple pie tart is perfect for you. I only use 2 apples because it's just me and my future baby daddy eating this. Make thin slices. Taking off the skin is optional. Mix with some melted butter, ginger, cinnamon, sugar, and allspice. I ate a few slices, but I could have ate the whole bowl. Cut a puff pastry sheet into quarters, layer with the apple slices, and brush the edges with an egg wash and bake it. My husband said it looked like an apple pie pizza, but I don't think so. Y'all don't understand how good this was. I tore them up.
Today is my parents' anniversary, and they got tiramisu on their first date, so I'm making it for them. For the cream, I added 8 ounces of mascarpone to a bowl and mixed that together. Then I separated 2 eggs. Place a glass bowl over a pot of boiling water and add your egg yolks. Add in a quarter cup of sugar and whisk for about 5 minutes. Add that directly into the mascarpone. Mix that together really well so there's no lumps. Next, whip a cup of cream with a little bit of vanilla until it becomes really stiff. Fold that really gently into the mascarpone mixture. Next, whip the 2 egg whites and add a tablespoon of sugar gradually. If you're afraid of salmonella from the egg whites, you can use pasteurized eggs. Fold that gently into the cream and refrigerate that. Next, brew about a cup of espresso and get some ladyfingers. I used the totally wrong type of ladyfingers, but they worked. To assemble, add a layer of the ladyfingers, then a layer of the mascarpone cream, then another layer of ladyfingers, then add some cocoa powder, then another layer of the mascarpone, and then garnish it off with more cocoa. Can we just appreciate those layers? Refrigerate for about 6 to 8 hours. Let's make an apple pie inside of an apple. This is the most insane dessert ever. Start by peeling, slicing, and dicing 1 apple. You know, show off those fine chopping skills. Next, mix 1 teaspoon of cornstarch with 1 tablespoon of water and mix it until everything is combined. Next, I place the apples into a pot with the cornstarch mixture, a half cup of sugar, and some spices. I use cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. Mix that together for about 5 to 10 minutes until the apples are soft and the syrup is thick. Next, core and hollow out 4 medium-sized apples. Place the filling into each of them and then get ready to put the crust on. Place the pie crust on top and bake at 375 for about 30 minutes. And there we have our ultimate apple pie.
Peeps, we're making peanut butter, chocolate, bark. Crack! First we melt 1.5 cups milk chocolate chip. Now we melt 1 cup PB chips and 2 tablespoons peanut butter. Flaky sea salt. Milk chocolate. We spread PB. And now we swirl our PB. And a little bit of flaky sea salt. Crack! And now we taste.
For all you lazy people out there, this single serving lava cake is so easy to make and it's literally the best thing ever. Start by chopping up 3 ounces of chocolate. Add that to a bowl with some butter and heat on a double boiler until melted. If you're super lazy, you could even do this in a microwave. Next, mix together 1 egg, 1 egg yolk, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Whisk it super fast until it's pale and fluffy. Fold in the chocolate mixture and 1 tablespoon of flour. Fold until smooth. Pour into a greased large ramekin and bake at 450 degrees for 12 minutes and top with powdered sugar. Look at that. This is literally the most delicious thing I've ever tasted. It's amazing and it's so easy. 100 out of 10 would recommend.
Magnolia Bakery's buttercream icing is one of the most famous frostings on the internet. Let's go make it. Add 2 sticks of unsalted butter softened, 4 cups of powdered sugar, half a cup of milk, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Mix on medium speed. Then you'll want to go ahead and add 4 more cups of powdered sugar. Mix on slow so you don't let it snow like Frozen.
These Cookie Monster chocolate chip cookies stuffed with chocolate in the middle are absolutely insane. And they're pretty easy to make. Start by mixing 2 1/4 cups of flour into a bowl. Next, add 1.5 teaspoons of cornstarch, a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. Give it a good whisk and set it aside. Melt 2 sticks of butter and then let that cool slightly. Add 3/4 cup of brown sugar and a half cup of white sugar. Cream those together until super well combined. Add 1 egg plus 1 egg yolk and a teaspoon of vanilla. Mix it all together and then add blue food coloring. I added a lot because I wanted these to be super blue. Add in your dry ingredients and stir it together until a dough forms. I added a cup of white chocolate chips and a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, but you can do whatever. Pat out your dough and then add some Hershey's chocolate into the middle. You're gonna wanna chill these for at least 2 hours, I did overnight, and bake at 350 for about 20 minutes. Today we're making pumpkin spice latte macarons. These are guaranteed to be the trendiest dessert you try this fall. Start by sifting together 2 cups of powdered sugar and a cup of almond flour. Then add in a half teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. That's just gonna make these cookies delicious. Whisk it together super well to make sure everything's incorporated, then separate 3 eggs. Place just the whites into a bowl and mix on high speed, and then gradually add in 1/3 cup of sugar and some food coloring. Once the egg whites reach stiff peaks, fold in half the dry mixture and then the other half until it's about this consistency. Pipe your macarons onto a tray, then tap the tray on the table to get rid of the air bubbles and let them sit for 30 minutes. Bake at 315 for 15 to 20 minutes. To make the filling, mix 1.5 sticks of butter with 1 cup of powdered sugar. Mix it together really well and then add a half teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, a half teaspoon of espresso powder, and some vanilla. My secret ingredient is pumpkin butter, but this is optional. Fill those beautiful macarons with your filling and then top them off. Look at those beauties!
Making double chocolate fudgy brownies, and I'm melting down 1 cup of butter along with 2 1/4 cup of white sugar. Once it melts, take off the heat, adding 1 1/4 cup of Dutch cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla. 4 eggs cracked in 1 at a time. It should look like this. Now add in 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm adding a bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips, mixing it together and putting it into my greased pan at 350 degrees for 1 hour. Next I'm cutting, and here you go, some double chocolate brownies.